We are chatting to economist Mpho Tsebe on the medium-term budget policy statement, which was just read by Minister Mboweni. Welcome, Mpho.
Thank you.
Mpho, what were the key highlights for you from this mini-budget?
The key highlights was the budget deficit. So the budget deficits were revised slightly higher than what the market was expecting. From an RMB's perspective, we were expecting the deficit to be revised to 4.0% this year, so that was more or less in line with what we expected. However, in the outer years, the deficit are significantly higher than what the market was expecting. We expected there to be a more stringent fiscal consolidation, but those budget deficits shoot to 4.2% in the 2 years, and slightly narrowing to 4.0% in 2020-21.
Can you tell me, do you feel that there were any trade-offs made by the finance minister in this budget?
Yes, definitely the trade-offs were between further expenditure cuts and more stringent fiscal consolidation. So the budget deficit overshot because of lower revenue collections. So Treasury expects to collect less in tax revenue, and so that had to be offset by lower expenditure cuts. But they had to take into account what the impact would be on growth. So we are currently in a low growth environment, and further expenditure cuts would definitely constrain the growth outlook even lower. But what is encouraging is that the overshoot from wages and salaries. So if you remember, the June wage agreement was 30 billion more than budgeted for. And so Treasury has said that, you know what, we're not going to fund this, so it will have to be funded from the confines of the baseline that was agreed upon. So they're not putting more money to fund the wages and salaries. However, they're also not cutting expenditure to sort of offset the revenue shortfall. So that's sort of the trade-offs that they had to make. Unfortunately, that means that the debt to GDP ratio now stabilizes at a much higher level, at 59.2%, which is uncomfortably close to the Moody's 60% threshold that they will be looking at. So this definitely raises some concerns and may make Moody's a bit uncomfortable than what the February budget presented.
Do you think, in simple terms, was this a good or a bad mini-budget by Minister Mboweni?
Sure, I wouldn't say it was either good or bad. It was a compromise budget, as indicated in the title of his speech. Yes. You know, we are at a crossroads, and difficult decisions definitely had to be made.
The best of times and the worst of times.
Yeah, exactly. So those difficult decisions, you know, entail further stringent calls with regard to how government deals with corruption. So there's the whole infrastructure fund that will be set up to try and alleviate some of the corruption problems that we see at a municipality level. So it's definitely a compromise. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mpho. Your input is highly appreciated.
All right. Thank you.